Look, I'm going to be brutally honest with you right now. There's a phrase I whispered in a guy's ear at a party, and 5 minutes later he was completely mesmerized, looking for me the rest of the night like I was the only woman on the planet. And no, it wasn't anything vulgar, nothing obvious, nothing you've heard out there. It was a dirty compliment, but intelligent, that activated something primal in his brain that he didn't even know existed. And before you close this video thinking this doesn't work the other way around, let me tell you a secret that few women will admit publicly. We love when a man knows how to use the right words, in the right way, at the right time. The problem is that 99% of you men are using the same generic, tired, boring compliments that we hear 15 times a day, and that cause absolutely nothing. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 9 dirty compliments that make a woman secretly desire you, but that you've never heard anyone talk about, because this is privileged information from the female universe. And I'm warning you right now. Number 7 is so powerful, so visceral, that if you use it wrong, it can scare her. But if you use it right, she'll look at you in a completely different way. Stay until the end, because the last compliment will turn your head upside down about how women really work. But before we start, do something for me right now. Leave a like on this video if you're tired of complimenting a woman and getting that emotionless smile, that polite but empty thank you, that look that clearly says, you're just another one. Because if you've been through this video was made especially for you. And subscribe to the channel, because here I'm not selling illusion, I'm not selling magic formulas, I'm selling raw truth about female psychology, told by someone who lives this psychology every day. Turn on the bell because the next videos will be even deeper, and I promise you'll learn things about women that they can't even explain themselves. Now answer me something, and I want you to be honest with me in the comments. How many times have you complimented a woman saying she's beautiful, that she has a beautiful smile, that her eyes are amazing, and felt it made no difference whatsoever? Comment below. Been there, if you identified with this. Because I need you to understand something fundamental before continuing. Beauty doesn't excite women the way you think. You know what excites us? Being seen in a way that no one else sees. Being recognized in layers she herself hides. Being desired not just for the body, but for the essence, for the energy, for the hidden side that few have the courage to touch. And that's exactly what these 9 compliments do. They're not about saying she's beautiful, they're about saying that you see her in a way others don't. And that, my dear, that is irresistible. But let me tell you a real story before starting with the compliments, because this will make you understand the power of what I'm going to teach today. About 2 years ago, I was in a kind of lukewarm relationship, you know? That routine thing, predictable, no flame. And then I met a guy at a work event who wasn't even close to the most handsome in the room, but he had something. He talked to me in a different way. And at one moment in the conversation, he came closer, looked deep into my eyes, and said something that completely messed me up inside. It wasn't, "You're beautiful." It wasn't, "You're hot." It was something that touched a part of me I didn't even know wanted to be touched. And at that exact moment, I felt an attraction so strong that I had to control myself not to do something stupid right there. He didn't touch me physically, but his words touched me in a way I remember to this day. And I bet you want to know what he said, right? Hold on, because it's within the 9 compliments I'm going to reveal now. But first, comment. Have you ever lived a situation where the right words completely changed the energy between you and someone? Tell your story, because I read all the comments and love knowing your experiences. First dirty compliment that makes any woman secretly desire you. You have an irresistible energy. Look, it seems simple, but you have no idea of the impact of this. Because when you tell a woman that her energy affects you, you're not complimenting her appearance. You're saying that her presence moves you. And that's infinitely more powerful. You know why? Because beauty is something we see in the mirror, but energy is something invisible. It's something we feel, but don't totally control. When you recognize this, you're basically saying, you affect me on a level that goes beyond the physical, and I can't even explain exactly what it is. This creates an instant connection, because you're talking to her soul, not to her body. And believe me, we melt when a man notices this. You can vary this compliment in many ways. There's something in your energy that completely disarms me. Your voice has a tone that hypnotizes me. You have a presence that dominates the room without even trying. See how it's totally different from "you're hot"? You're admitting vulnerability. You're saying that she has power over you, and paradoxically, this makes you more attractive. Because a man confident enough to admit that a woman affects him is rare, and rarity has value. Now comment here real quick. Have you ever had the courage to talk to a woman about her energy, or do you always stick to the basics of physical appearance? Because I bet most of you have never even thought about complimenting energy, and that's exactly why this video is going to completely change your game. Second compliment, and this one is bolder, dirtier in the good sense of the word. You have a naughty way of smiling when you talk about this. Guys, this is pure gold, and I'll explain why. When you point out something naughty or mischievous in the woman, you're doing a brilliant power inversion. You're not being the horny guy drooling. You're saying that she is the provocative one, that she has this sexual energy, and you're just recognizing it. This is liberating for a woman because society teaches us to repress this side, to be proper, not to demonstrate desire openly. So when you say, that smile of yours hides some intentions there, right? Or, you get a different sparkle in your eyes when you talk about this, you're giving her permission to be whole, including the sexual side. And look, we love this. We love when a man isn't afraid of our sexuality, when he not only accepts, but celebrates it. But attention, the difference between this working or sounding disgusting is all in the tone. It has to be playful, teasing, with a smile at the corner of your mouth, never serious or accusatory. It's almost like a fun provocation, a smart observation, not a judgment. And when you get the tone right, you create instant complicity, as if you shared a spicy secret that no one else knows. And real quick, give a like right now if you're starting to understand that seduction is much more about emotional intelligence than about muscles or money. Because if you still think attracting women is about appearance and status, you're playing the wrong game. Third dirty compliment that messes with any woman's head. You seem calm, but I bet you're intense. Let me explain something about us women that you might not know. Every woman has an internal duality. There's the side she shows to the world, the social mask, the edited version, and there's the real side, intense, sometimes wild, that only intimate people know. When you recognize this duality before knowing her hidden side, you're basically saying, I see you beyond the facade. I know there's much more beneath this surface. And this is extremely seductive because it shows perception. It shows you're not just another idiot who gets fooled by appearances. You can use variations like, you look like a saint but must be dangerous, or you seem so serene on the outside, but I'm sure you're a volcano inside. And you know what happens when you say this? She'll usually smile in that mysterious way and respond with something like, why do you think that? Or, what makes you think so? There, you've created a conversation full of sexual tension, full of mystery, because now she's curious about how you reach that conclusion, and you can continue exploring this side of her. This compliment works especially well with more reserved women, or who have a more proper appearance, because you're inviting her to reveal the hidden side without her feeling judged. Tell me in the comments, do you know any woman who seems super proper but you know has fire underneath? And have you had the courage to recognize this? Or are you afraid to speak? Fourth compliment. And now things get even bolder. I love when you get nervous around me. Look, this one requires timing, because it only works when you really notice she's nervous or shy in your presence. But when you get it right, the effect is devastating. You know why? Because you're naming the sexual tension that already exists between you. You're taking it out of the territory of denial and bringing it to consciousness. And when you do this with confidence, without arrogance, just recognizing the obvious, you show that you're not afraid of the attraction that's happening there. Most men ignore the signs of nervousness because they're afraid to assume there's chemistry, afraid to get burned. But when you verbalize with something like, I noticed you get kind of flustered when I look at you like this, or, it's cute how you get nervous when I get close, you're basically accelerating the intimacy process. Because now you both know there's something there. It's no longer subconscious. It's conscious. And her natural reaction will be to laugh, deny it playfully like, me? Nervous? No way. Or confirm it shyly. Any of these responses increases the connection. But be very careful. Only use this if you really notice clear signs of interest and nervousness. If you say this to a woman who is absolutely calm and confident, you'll sound presumptuous and stupid. Reading body language here is fundamental. Before continuing to the next compliment, I need to pause here and give you a crucial warning that can save you from embarrassment or worse. And comment, understood. if you're paying attention, because this is serious. Look, none of these compliments I'm teaching you work if you don't have 3 fundamental things: established rapport, body language reading, and genuine intention. Let me be very clear about this, because I don't want you going around using these phrases like a robot without context and ending up looking like a harasser. First, rapport. You can't approach any unknown woman and drop "I love when you get nervous around me." That's scary. You need to have established a conversation, a minimum connection, signs of mutual interest. Second, body language. If she has her arms crossed, looking away, giving short answers, creating physical distance, stop. No matter how powerful the compliment is, if she's not receptive, you're being inappropriate. And third, genuine intention. These compliments are not manipulation tricks. They're ways to express real attraction intelligently. If you're faking it, if you're just trying to get her without real interest, she will notice and you'll sound fake. The difference between a well-given dirty compliment and harassment is in the context and her reception. Seduction is a dance, not an invasion. And there's more. These compliments only work when they come from a man who already demonstrates value, confidence, and isn't desperate for approval. If you act like you're needy, any word sounds pathetic. So work on yourself first, on your self-esteem, on your presence, and then use these tools. Got it? Comment responsibility if you understood this part, because it's the most important of the entire video. Fifth compliment that will make her see you with different eyes. You drive me crazy in a way you shouldn't. Guys, this one is about admitting the effect she has on you, and this is extremely exciting for a woman because it inverts the power dynamic. I'll tell you another secret from the female universe. We love knowing we have power over a man, especially a confident man. It's not about manipulative control. It's about knowing we make an impact, that we're not invisible or disposable. When you say, "You destabilize me in a dangerous way," or "You make me completely forget what I was going to say," you're offering something rare, male vulnerability. And look, a vulnerable man, when he's authentic and comes from a place of strength, not weakness, is seductive. You can use variations like, "You have a way of looking at me that leaves me speechless. It's irritating how you occupy my mind all day. You throw me off balance, and I think you know it." See how you're putting the ball in her court, recognizing the seduction game that's happening there. This creates complicity, creates intimacy, because you're not pretending to be the unreachable guy. You're saying, "You move me, and I'm not afraid to admit it." And paradoxically, this makes you more attractive, not less, because true confidence is admitting when someone special affects you. Comment quick. Do you have the courage to admit to a woman that she destabilizes you, or do you stay in that thing of playing tough and indifferent? Because I guarantee you that fake indifference doesn't win over anyone. Sixth compliment. And now let's talk about body, but in a way you've never heard. Your body tells a story I want to discover. Look, here's the big secret that separates mediocre men from magnetic men. Women don't want you to compliment body parts in a crude, objectifying way. We don't want to hear, "What a big butt," or "Your breasts are beautiful," coming from a guy we just met. That's disgusting. It's reductive. It makes us feel like pieces of meat. But, and this is important, we love when a man compliments our body in a poetic, mysterious, respectful way. Instead of talking about specific parts like a butcher describing cuts of meat, talk about sensuality as a whole. You move in a way that's almost hypnotic. There's something in the way you occupy space that makes me curious. Your curves tell stories I want to know. See the absurd difference? You're still complimenting her body, still expressing physical desire, but you do it with class, with intelligence, in a way that makes her feel seen as a complete woman, not as an object. This shows emotional sophistication, shows you're not just another primitive man who only thinks with the lower part. And you can be absolutely sure, when you compliment like this, she feels it in her whole body, because you're talking to her femininity, to her sensuality, not just to the surface. So, tell me something in the comments. Have you ever complimented a woman's body in a poetic way? Or do you always go with the obvious and direct? Because this right here can completely change how they react to you. Seventh compliment. And this is the one I warned you about at the beginning. That's a nuclear bomb. I imagine things with you that I shouldn't. Look, I'm going to be very honest now. This compliment is dangerous. It's so powerful in creating sexual tension that you need to be very careful about when and how to use it. Because when you say, I imagine things with you that I shouldn't be imagining. Or, you provoke thoughts I need to censor. You're doing 3 things simultaneously. Admitting sexual desire in a suggestive, but not explicit way. Creating absurd curiosity about what exactly you're imagining, and establishing erotic complicity because now she'll also start imagining. It's a compliment that works on the imagination, which is the most powerful sexual organ that exists. But maximum attention. This only works when there's already obvious chemistry between you, when the context allows this level of intimacy, when she's already shown clear receptiveness to your advances. If you drop this too early, too fast, to someone who's not in the same vibe, it will sound scary, invasive, creepy. Timing is everything here. But when well used, especially accompanied by a penetrating look and a half smile, man, she'll feel a literal shiver running up her spine. Because you're not being explicit, you're making her brain complete the sentence. And her imagination will do the heavy lifting for you, will create scenarios that are much more powerful than anything you could describe. Let me tell you, I've heard this compliment a few times in my life, and the times it was well delivered, I became obsessed, trying to figure out what exactly the person was imagining. It's an irresistible mental hook. Tell me in the comments, would you have the courage to use this compliment, or would you be scared? And if you've already used it, tell how the reaction was. I want to know these stories. 8th compliment. And now let's go to something that few men understand the value of. You're dangerously intelligent. Let me tell you a truth that hurts but needs to be said. Beautiful women hear about beauty every single day. On Instagram, on the street, at work, everywhere. There's someone saying we're beautiful, hot, wonderful. This completely loses effect over time, becomes background noise. You know what we rarely hear? Compliments about our intelligence in a sexy way. Most men either completely ignore this aspect, or compliment in a technical and boring way like, you're intelligent, or worse, feel threatened by intelligent women. So when you say, you're dangerously intelligent, this attracts and scares me at the same time. Or, I love how your mind works, it's seductive. You're doing something revolutionary. You're sexualizing her intelligence. And this is rare. This is valuable. You can vary with things like, it's sexy when you talk about what you're passionate about. Your mind is more interesting than your body, and look how amazing your body is. You're the type of woman who seduces through conversation before anything else. This works especially well with successful, educated women who are tired of being reduced to physical appearance. When you recognize and are attracted to her intellectual capacity, you automatically differentiate yourself from 95% of the guys out there. And look, I can guarantee you from my own experience, when a man compliments me for something I built, something that required effort and dedication like intelligence or knowledge, I get much more interested than when he compliments something I was simply born with. Comment here. Do you value female intelligence, or do you prefer women who just agree with everything you say? Because the answer to this says a lot about your level of emotional maturity. And now, we arrive at the 9th and last compliment, the one I promised would completely change your way of communicating with women. And it's paradoxically the simplest, but also the most neglected. You make me want to be more honest. Look, this compliment is about authenticity. And in an era where everyone is wearing a social mask, performing on social media, pretending to be someone they're not, authenticity has become something rare and precious. When you say, you have a way of making me want to drop all masks, or, with you, I can't pretend to be someone I'm not, you're offering real vulnerability. You're saying she inspires the most genuine version of you. And you know why this is devastatingly powerful? Because women spend life dealing with men who are performing, trying to impress, pretending to have more money than they have, more confidence than they feel, more experience than they possess. It's exhausting. So when a man admits, you inspire me to be real, this touches a deep place. This compliment communicates 3 messages subliminally. You're special enough to see the real me. I feel safe being authentic with you. You deserve my truth, not a performance. And ironically, when you stop trying to impress and start being honest, you become infinitely more attractive. Because true confidence doesn't need masks. And women feel when a man is being genuine versus when he's trying to sell an image. We have a very well-calibrated falsity detector. So tell me now in the comments, do you usually be authentic from the beginning with women, or do you keep trying to impress? And which approach do you think works better? Look, I want to pause here before finishing because I need you to understand something about everything I taught you today. These 9 compliments are not magic formulas that you're going to go around repeating robotically to every woman who crosses your path. That's not how it works. They're tools, and tools in the hands of a man without calibration, without emotional intelligence, without genuineness, can cause damage. They can make you seem manipulative, fake, scary. The truth is that these compliments only work when they come from a real place, when you really feel what you're saying. Because women have an almost supernatural ability to detect incongruence between what you say and what you feel. If you say, "You have an irresistible energy," but your body language is saying, "I'm nervous and insecure," she'll notice the dissonance and it won't work. So before applying any of these techniques, work on yourself. Develop genuine confidence, not fake arrogance. Develop real interest in women as complete human beings, not as trophies or conquests. Develop the courage to be vulnerable, because vulnerability is strength, not weakness. And mainly, develop respect, because without respect, any attempt at seduction becomes something dirty in the bad sense of the word. If you made it this far, comment evolving, because this means you're really committed to improving, to learning, to becoming a better man. And let me tell you, the world desperately needs more evolved men who know how to win over with intelligence, respect, and authenticity. Now, quickly recapping the 9 dirty compliments that make women secretly desire you. You have an irresistible energy. You have a naughty way of smiling. You seem calm, but I bet you're intense. I love when you get nervous around me. You drive me crazy in a way you shouldn't. Your body tells a story I want to discover. I imagine things with you that I shouldn't. You're dangerously intelligent. You make me want to be more honest. 9 compliments. 9 ways to touch a woman emotionally before touching physically. 9 ways to create real connection instead of superficial interaction. And look, I'm going to make you a personal confession, now that might surprise you. I created this video not just to teach you techniques, but because I really believe that when men learn to communicate better with women, everyone wins. Women win because they find more interesting, deeper, more conscious men. And men win because they stop living in the frustration of not being understood, not being desired, not knowing how to express attraction in a healthy way. It's a two-way street, and if more men applied these principles, we'd have fewer empty relationships, fewer sexual frustrations, fewer destructive mind games. We'd have more authentic, more pleasurable, more meaningful connections. So now I want you to do 3 things for me. First, leave a like on this video, because the more likes, the more YouTube shows it to other people, and the more men learn this, the better it will be for everyone. Second, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell, because I'm going to continue bringing real content about female psychology. No beating around the bush, no manipulation, just raw truth. And third, share this video with that brother of yours who's stuck in the game, who doesn't know how to talk to women, who keeps repeating the same mistakes. Because knowledge kept to yourself is worthless. Shared knowledge transforms lives. And tell me here in the comments which of these 9 compliments you're going to test first. And please, come back here later to tell how it went, because I read all the comments and love following your evolution. If it worked, tell me. If it didn't work, tell me too, because we learn a lot from mistakes. Create a community here of men who are really committed to evolving. Now, if you want to go even deeper into female psychology and learn things that go beyond compliments, things about female body language, about the secret signs women give when they're interested, about how to create sexual tension through conversations, I have other videos on the channel that will blow your mind. I'll leave some recommended here on the screen for you to watch after this one. And confess to me, are you really committed to improving, or are you just here consuming content without applying anything? Because information without action is just entertainment. And I don't want to entertain you. I want to transform you. One last thing before you go. Remember at the beginning I told you about that guy at the event who said something that messed me up inside? Well, the compliment he used was a combination of number 5 with number 7. He said something like, "You make me imagine things I shouldn't be imagining at a work event, and it's irritating how I can't get you out of my head." And look, that was said with class, at the right time, after an almost hour-long conversation where there was already clear chemistry between us. It wasn't random, it wasn't invasive, it was perfect. And I never forgot, because he didn't try to impress me with money, with status, with appearance. He impressed me with the right words at the right time. And that's what separates average men from unforgettable men. So go ahead. Apply what you learned today with responsibility, with respect, with authenticity. And always remember, the goal is not to manipulate women to get sex. The goal is to create genuine connections where both feel seen, desired, and valued. Because empty sex is easy to get, but real connection is rare and precious. And in the end, it's the real connection that will make you truly happy, not the superficial validation of meaningless conquests. If you really absorbed everything I said today, you're no longer the same man who clicked on this video. You now have tools that 99% of men don't have. You have insights about female psychology that take years to learn. And you have the responsibility to use this for good, not for evil. So promise me something. Promise you'll use these compliments to create beautiful moments, true connections, memorable experiences, not to deceive, not to hurt, not to feed ego. Promise? Comment, I promise, if you're committed to this journey of conscious masculine evolution. And until the next video, where I'm going to reveal the 5 fatal mistakes men make in the first conversation with a woman, and that destroy any chance before it even starts. You won't want to miss it. A kiss, and remember, always be the type of man you'd want your daughter to meet someday.